Gentlelady yields back. I now recognize the gentlelady from South Carolina, Ms. Biggs, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses for being here today. I know you have a really difficult job. I want to take a moment just to highlight the fantastic work of the Homeland Security Advisory Council. I think when I say this, I speak on behalf of our entire South Carolina delegation when I say that I'm pleased to see South Carolina's own Governor Henry McMaster appointed to chair the HSAC. Since its inception in 2002, the Council's mission has been to offer the department real-time advice across the whole spectrum of security issues, and I think this is especially critical for a state like mine in South Carolina, where we face everything from severe weather events such as Hurricane Helene to major port security and cyber security concerns. But I'll move on, and I would like to direct this statement to Director Kent. China is and has been for quite some time the primary great power competitor to the U.S. I think some of my colleagues have already established that today. And I think we've identified the pacing challenge for our national security strategies. Chinese companies have made land acquisitions near sensitive military sites in the U.S., and Chinese researchers have engaged in espionage and intellectual property theft. Chinese national encounters at our northern and southern borders surged in fiscal year 24, and China remains the primary supplier of precursor chemicals contributing to American overdose deaths. So my question, Director, is to what extent do you see a nexus between China's destabilizing activities and the terror threat landscape in the United States?
Thank you for that question, and that's a very important topic, especially in terms of fentanyl and the precursors the Chinese Communist Party provides. Working directly with the cartels, we have agents of the Chinese Communist Party, some directly affiliated and some indirectly affiliated, that are working with the cartels to continue to change essentially the recipe of the fentanyl, because as we designate these different precursors and they kind of fall off the market or become more regulated, these advanced chemists will then come into play, and they're the ones that provide the new ingredients, the new ways to manufacture fentanyl that kills American citizens. So this is something that we're looking at, in particular the relationship between these Chinese actors and the Mexican drug cartels.
Well, thank you so much. And sir, if you have any additional information, I'd be happy to hear.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for the opportunity. I think to your question is, if our country's destabilized, it creates a lot of vulnerabilities for us. And whether it be the fentanyl is what you're talking about here, it could definitely affect our national security. Regarding the fentanyl, one thing Director Patel recently did is we've recognized the challenge that fentanyl faces in the United States. And instead of continuing to address the symptom, look at the root of the problem. He recently went over to China, met with his counterparts in MSP, and they agreed to put 13 precursor chemicals on an export control list. And if we can prevent the chemicals and the precursors coming to the United States or into the, Mexico or anyone that puts together the fentanyl that comes into the United States, that can have a greater effect to reduce that threat to the United States.
Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you being here and hope you realize how important your work is. And I know the district, my 3rd district of South Carolina, is counting on you to continue that hard work. I yield back, sir.
Gentlelady yields back. I now recognize the gentleman from Virginia, Ms. Walkinshaw, for 5 minutes of questions.